ladies and gentlemen, and happy good evening to you wherever you are. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and tonight's show is going to be a hot one. I want to do something real special for you on the last Sunday in December in the year of our Lord, 1982. I want to send some of you out to the fairgrounds tonight to that Big Zap, Rogers, and SOS along with the Joker's Wild concert. I want you to go out there as a guest of Clara Luper on KAEZ radio. Now, what I'm going to do first to start the show tonight, I shall go over a bit of history with you. A few years ago, we started the annual bachelor's contest. We did it because so many of you out in radio land, when I was in the marriage consultant business before the Reagan administration, where I had to go bankrupt, well, before then, you told me that it was nobody to marry, and I told you that there were some bachelors in Oklahoma and throughout this country that were on the ball. You told me to find them. Well, I have found for 1982, after going through a list of over 100 bachelors, I now have my top 10 according to you, the audience. So tonight, what I shall do, I shall give you, the most intelligent radio audience in the world, an opportunity to cast your votes. Thousands of you have written and say, this is my choice. But tonight it boils down to the radio, and tomorrow at 6 o'clock, we would have, with a team of people, counted all of the hundreds of votes that you have sent in for your favorite contestant in 1982. Now, first, I'm going to give you two telephone numbers out to KAEZ, 424-6494, 424-3376. I would like to repeat. I want you to write these numbers down. Now, we don't want the same persons calling over and over. When you call one time, that's it. We are taping out here, and we want different people to call. The telephone again is 424-3376, 424-6494. Now, we have to have this bachelor's contest. It must be above board. Therefore, if I'm asking you tonight, just one of you, when you call for one bachelor, that's it. Don't call over and over for the same bachelor. We want to see how many people will respond. Now, as you call, I'm going to give you at least the first 25 of you 2 tickets to that big show tonight, and it doesn't start until 9 o'clock, so you will have plenty of time to come out and pick up your tickets. You have to come out here at KAEZ and pick up your tickets. So the first few minutes will be filled with telephone calls with votes for your favorite bachelors. The bachelors of 1982, the 10 fabulous, handsome, all right bachelors. Here they are, ladies and gentlemen. Remember tonight, you, the radio audience, will cast your vote. Remember, the winner of this bachelor's contest will be honored at a bachelor's dinner on Tuesday, December the 28th at exactly 6:30 p.m. Those bachelors will have the opportunity of eating some delicious T-bone steaks from Cleo's restaurant, and that's a treat within itself. I'm telling you, you haven't seen anything until you see these bachelors. And you know what? These bachelors will be eating for dessert hot peach cobbler made at Cleo's restaurant. Can't you see these bachelors? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go according to the rules. The rules state for you to call 424-6494, 424-3376. Now, if you should be the first one of the first 25 to call, you will come out and pick up your tickets. We're ready now. The bachelors, I'm not going to call them in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to call names. Now, you vote for your favorite bachelor. Terry Jameson, Globe Life Insurance Company, and KAEZ Radio. Roosevelt Weaver of the Wilson's Food Company. Elmer Kemp of Elmer's Club, the owner. Cleo Fields, the owner of Cleo's Restaurant, located in the Southgate Inn. Mr. A.H. Mouton, the assistant principal of John Marshall High School. Reverend Dave Kimberly, a minister in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, the farmer with the pond. Mr. William Smith of the FAA in Oklahoma City. David Lee Walker, LTD, the owner of a beauty supply company and a beauty shop in El Reno, Oklahoma. Sherman Cawthon, a fireman in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Eugene Moore Jr., a worker, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The telephone number is 424-6494 and 424-3376. Cast your votes for your favorite bachelors. Sometimes we miss people for a while, and then all at once we find them again. So many of you have told me that you have missed the CJ&R hair designers. Well, I have good news for you. Mr. Richards and Company, who specialize in the latest trims and curls or blow-dry styles and perms, if it's to be done, Mr. Richard Williams and Mr. Ronnie Trailer will do it, where they are back at the corner of 23rd and Eastern. That's Mr. Richards and Company. They would like for all of their friends to come by. And you need to go by, because we are living in a new day when intelligent businessmen like Mr. Richard Williams and Mr. Ronnie Trailer are going into business in order that they can specialize in trims and curls and blow-dry styles and perms. So many people have called me and said, Clara, why don't you tell us where we can get some cancer insurance? Because it doesn't make any difference how much money you have. If you come down with cancer, you're in serious trouble. Well, in some of the cancer insurance, you see limits, and that's a dangerous policy because you're limited as to the number of days and the number of weeks and the amount of treatment you can get. But I ran across a best cancer plan on the market where they have no limits on nothing. They have radiation and any other kind of treatment, no age limit, don't have to take no physical examination. And it's unbelievable because along with this cancer plan, it takes care of such things as sickle cell anemia. Really, Foster can tell you more about it than I. His telephone number is 528-4390. Let me repeat that. If you are thinking, and you have to think, because if the ratio continues, what is it? 6 out of every 10 in Oklahoma County will die from cancer. Well, you need to be protected because there is a policy, and you have asked me for this kind of information. Really, Foster Sr. can do it far better than I. His telephone number is 528-4390. Some things are changing in Oklahoma City during the holidays, and one of the great changes that have come about have been the fact that Dr. and Mrs. William Clark and staff of Bryant Center have been successful in operating one of the most beautiful bowling alleys in the Southwest. It's unbelievable. I had the opportunity to go out last week and see the bowlers, and I'm telling you, I want you to go and have the experience that I had. While I was out there, Dr. and Mrs. William Clark asked me, along with their staff, to express to all of you their sincere thanks. They want to thank you because you, the community, have supported Bryant Center. You, the community, have supported the restaurant and the bowling alley, which is open 7 days a week. Well, there will be some exciting things that will be happening at the Bryant Center. B.B. Coleman Blues Band will appear in the Center Club from 10 p.m. every Friday and Saturday night. On Friday, December the 31st and Saturday, January the 1st, Miss Shirley Brown, the rhythm and blues singer, and you will know about Woman to Woman, will appear in both a concert and a dance. Now, if you want group discounts, all you have to do is call 424-7555, or you may drop by Bryant Center and pick up your tickets. There are a lot of activities that are going on at Bryant Center, and what we as a public must do is to go out and see. Now, Dr. and Mrs. William Clark have certainly rendered a service to this community by taking Bryant Center and bringing it up to one of the top bowling alleys and restaurants in the state of Oklahoma. I want you to call 424-7555. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and we are voting today on radio for bachelors. Those of you that are sending in, the deadline is tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. because on Tuesday we will have that big bachelor's dinner. And I need you to call me tonight. And it's very, very important that you call me and let me know if you will attend. I need a call from all of the bachelors. Someone has just called me and said one of my bachelors was in an automobile accident. I would like for anyone with any information concerning my bachelors to please call me here, KAEZ Radio 424-649-4337, 424-3376. Well, how are things going out there? The telephone's ringing. People are coming through. Is it looking all right? Yeah. Before you go back to the telephone, will you give us that fabulous sports review and sports report we have all waited on?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Monique Renee Trewicks, your high school sports reporter, bringing to you Tuesday night's high school basketball scores. The girls' games, it was Carl Albert defeated Choctaw 43-35, Grant over Boswell 61-38. Douglas beat Northwest 36-19. The boys' games, the Northwest beat Douglas 72-56. Star Spencer over Bowley 96-24. Carl Albert defeated Choctaw 52-43, and Grant over Boswell 59-43. And this has been brought to you by Behold the Walls by Clara Luper.
I would like to thank those of you out in Radio Land that have taken out time this holiday season and have given Behold the Walls as a gift. I want you to know that I appreciate it. Those of you that are in Oklahoma City enjoying our facilities, I want you to remember that Behold the Walls is a story of the sit-in movement that started in Oklahoma City August 19th, 1958. Behold the walls. Look at the walls that I have seen. And speaking of walls, I would like to call your attention to an editorial that I disagree with that appeared in the Black Chronicle on December the 16th, 1982. The editorial stated that there was a better choice for a black to serve on the Horse Commission than Mr. Earl Temple. Now, I would like to say publicly that Mr. Earl Temple is the choice of thousands of people in Oklahoma. Now, when the Black Chronicle stated that it was not the choice of Freddie Williams or Kevin Cox, Shirley Darrell, or anyone else, State Senator E. Melvin Porter, according to this article, has expressed mixed emotions. Well, I want you to know that I think that Governor Nye made a very intelligent selection in selecting Mr. Earl Temple. Now, according to the article in the Black Chronicle, Mr. Earl Temple was too old. That's the funniest statement that has been made in 1982. Because when you talk about age, I have met hundreds of people that were in their 20s and 30s whose minds were in their 80s and 90s. Who told Mr. Temple that he was too old when he donated a plot of land that now houses the Urban League? I want someone to answer that for me. I would like to know, why is it that Mr. Earl Temple, according to the Black Chronicle, is too old to be on the Horse Commission, and yet he was not too old to give land to build the Urban League on by which the Urban League, a civil rights organization, can serve this community? I say Mr. Earl Temple is at the right age now to do whatever he wants to do. Who could have been a better choice than Mr. Earl Temple? Could it have been some young person? Well, we've had young people out to the state capitol, and we haven't seen those drastic changes that the Black Chronicle would like to write about. Mr. Temple represents Oklahoma, black Oklahoma. I can see him now during the sit-in movement, standing when he could have stood on the other side, but standing tall with black people. Now, let's talk about age. Once upon a time in Oklahoma City, Dr. Dial, Archibald Hill, and a young man from SCLC was arrested downtown. And when they were arrested, they needed some cash to get out. Where were the young people? I can tell you they were around holding their pockets with nothing in it. Who did they call to get these people out of jail that could come up with the CASH cash? Mr. Earl Temple. Well, Mr. Earl Temple was not too old then to get us out of jail. Mr. Earl Temple is not too old now to serve on a Horse Commission. You know, it's really funny. in this community, how when one man goes up, everybody's hollering about that man. Let Mr. Temple go to the top. He has the ability, and not only that, he doesn't have to Uncle Tom to anybody because his building is paid for, his home is paid for. He doesn't have any worries. He's not like those of us that are 3 payments away from poverty. I don't think nobody could have made a better choice than Mr. Temple. Mrs. Hunter has just come in. She's just as controversial as Clara Luper. The paper here, Mrs. Hunter, says that better choice than Temple was possible. Where could you find anybody that could serve on that horse commission any better than Mr. Temple? That's what I want to know.
Well, now, Mrs. Luper, all I can go by is past experiences, and I've known Mr. Temple for a long time. And, you know, I read that article in the paper, and I just hate to read anything that confuses me and disturbs my mind. Now, that really did disturb me, because I remember when Oklahoma City was in need, we were trying to build a building, and we needed some property to build this building on. And I was at the meeting when Temple said, I'll give you some property. Where was all them other efficient people when do you know who he gave that property to, Ms. Luper?
Of course, I just told the people, the Urban League. He wasn't too old then, was he?
No, that's what I'm talking about. And I wonder where were all those efficient people then when we were in trouble. We needed some property to build a building for the Urban League. And all of those efficient people, where were they? You know, that really disturbs me. It really does.
But where were they when we needed some support for the NAACP Youth Council? Where were they when the AKAs needed ads in the paper, the Zetas and the Deltas and everybody else? Where are they? Mr. Earl Temple has always been there, and I want to say it loud so you can hear me. Thank you, Governor Nye, for appointing Mr. Earl Temple on that horse racing commission.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. I'll go along with him 100%. And I don't know who all is so efficient, but I don't know where that efficiency is. And one thing about it, I've never gone to Mr. Temple for my church for an ad that he's ever turned me down, but I've gone to some of these efficient people and people with efficiency that didn't even have $5 to give me and said, well, you know, he always makes them excuses. But if I could always, I said, I don't have to worry, I know I'm going to get something from Mr. Temple, and went there. Now, I don't know where these efficient people are. And I don't know where these people are that's helping to build northeast Oklahoma City. I don't know where they are either.
Well, certainly, I know there are 2 people in Oklahoma City, and I want you to call me out here. I want you to see if you think Mr. Temple is too old. Now, at that rate, the Black Chronicle would have thought Ron Reagan was too old.
Well, that's right, Mrs. Luper. I was just fixing to say, now, if Temple is too old, why did we put in a 70-some-odd age president for the run the United States? Why did we put a man in there that was 70 and over to run the United States if Mr. Temple was just too old to be on a little something as that paper?
Well, he won't have to worry about taking no money because he sure that's the last thing
he doesn't need that.
That's right. He's talking about a younger man. What could a younger man do? Some of these young men better be thinking about doing something now before they get on that commission.
But I hope he's not talking about a lot of these young men that I know around here. And I'm talking about the young men, too, that I know.
Let's challenge the Black Chronicle. Let them come out with some of the young men that would qualify, young men with the things that are needed to serve on this commission. Somebody between the age of 43 to 55. That seems pretty old to me. Well, lady, today's program is a very special program because this is the time that we will be going out to Cleo's restaurant, which is a most unusual restaurant, serving delicious food with a taste of splendor, unlike any food that you can find in the Southwest. Cleo's restaurant is an experience in Southern eating at its best. Delicious food and prompt service in an atmosphere that's fit for a king. Cleo's restaurant is an ideal place to entertain your friends and your business associates. And if you don't believe it, ask someone from the black social workers that went out to Cleo's just to look around and see the place. Ask Reverend C.C. Cooper and others. And incidentally, they can entertain groups of up to 200. And I had the opportunity to go to several restaurants, but Cleo's restaurant is my choice for group entertainment and for individual eating. It's located at 5245 South Interstate 35. The telephone number is 672-9280 or 672-9284. Clara Luper reporting the news. Mrs. Hunter, yes, we just have so much to tell each other. We haven't seen each other.
But Mrs. Luper, I want to tell the public this. I have not seen Mr. Temple. Mr. Temple does not know that I was going to say the words that I said about him on this radio program. And I want the public to know that. And I'm sure you have not talked with him either. And I feel the public should know this is not a paid political announcement because he hasn't given me any money.
He doesn't need to give you any money.
He doesn't even know that I'm going to say it. He doesn't even know that I'm out here. So I just like to give flowers to people when they are due and they can smell the flowers. So, and I like to speak the truth.
Well, I would like to congratulate and thank Governor Nye for appointing Mr. Earl Temple, and I'm writing him on behalf, and I have a petition with hundreds of names on it that we are sending to the governor in support of Mr. Earl Temple. Some strange things are happening in Oklahoma City, and it is the purpose of this radio show to keep you, the public, informed. Last week, I told you that there were some inequities in the senior branch's election. I have not had anybody to call me from the senior branch that was on that election committee to tell me that I was wrong. Now, let me go back and state the things that I stated was wrong. On last Tuesday night, that's a week ago, the second Tuesday night, I went to the executive board meeting, and at that time, I asked a question that I knew the answer to. Would young children under 17 be allowed to vote in the election? The answer was no, and according to the Constitution of the senior branch, which is a national constitution of NACP, no children could vote in an adult election. Yet, Mrs. Hunter, it is true that Mrs. Crawford brought in 2 children and they were allowed to vote. According to Mr. David Threet, who was a chairperson of the election committee and was appointed because he was impartial, yet to the surprise of a whole town, he came out endorsing Miss Munson. I have nothing to say about whether a person wins or a person is defeated, but all I'm saying that we should play the game right. Now, I would like for Mrs. Holmes to call me during this election because the thing that Attorney Giger stated, that she did not allow him to have the life membership list and that she was in when the voting was taking place. Now, I know for sure that Mrs. Era Holmes was in there because when I went to vote, Mrs. Holmes was there with some cards and things that was looking through. Now, if Mrs. Holmes has any information to say about whether or not she was in there where the election was carried on, and that is when you go to pick up your ballot, if she was not in there, then I would like for her to call, because I know that Mrs. Holmes was in there where the election was taken on, because when I went through there, she was there. Well, Letty, today we have some news about Tabernacle Baptist Church. But before I tell the Tabernacle Baptist Church's news, I would like to tell you about your bishops, Bishop Hildebrand, and bishops, all those bishops met with the National Baptists and the Progressive Baptists, and they decided that they were going to lead a movement to put meaning into the total economic strength of the black church. Can you imagine?
I can't imagine. Don't you tell me that the AME bishops have gotten together and called this whole group?
Yes, it came through the leadership of the AMEs, and now the Baptists are all meeting together. But let me tell you what's happening at Tabernacle Baptist Church.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me what the bishops were doing.
I told you the bishops were going to help the economic conditions of black people. Your bishop, Bishop Hildebrand, stood there and told the people that with all of the unemployment that we have, we, the black churches with money in the bank, must hire people. We must create jobs. We must do it. But let's tell you what's going on at Tabernacle Baptist Church.
Yeah, what's going on at Tabernacle, Mrs. Luper? I read in the paper about them.
This is the hottest story on the air. But before I tell this story, maybe I should tell you that you may call in now and vote on your favorite bachelor and get 2 tickets to this big concert tonight. The calls are coming in. People are calling for their favorite ones, and I want you to come out and pick up your tickets. I do have 50 tickets that are free to this concert, and I want you to go as my guest. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and we'll have a Happy New Year's from Terrace Garden Nursing Home, 1921 Northeast 21st Street, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Happy New Year's from Ghana Village Nursing Home, 3000 Northeast 17th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Happy New Year's from Shady Views Nursing Home, right in their nursing homes. Well, I'm telling you where you can put them, and they will be treated right, and they will receive first-class care. Holiday greetings from the Shaw's Siesta Motel, 1921 Northeast 23rd Street in Oklahoma City, a place where you can send your Western Electric. You can send money orders or messages. That's at the Shaw's Siesta Hotel, 1921 Northeast 23rd Street, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Have a Happy New Year, and stop by the Lemons Food Market and Record 2634 Northeast 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And from Mr. and Mrs. Lemons, your friends, they say to each one of you, have a happy and prosperous new year. The Gates Barber Shop continue to serve people. It's located at 2540 Northeastern here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The telephone number is 427-9225. That's the Gates Barber Shop here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Your home radio, your home restaurant is really Stella's Restaurant. 1100 Northeast 23rd Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That's where the family meets for lunch and dinner. Be sure and have an experience, a real experience with vegetables and delicious meat at Stella's Restaurant, 1100 Northeast 23rd Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Deacon Kermit James tell me they have a new pastor. Well, congratulations, and Mr. Kermit James say to all of his friends, have a happy, happy New Year's. Mrs. Pearl Childs would like to take this opportunity to say thanks to all of her friends. She wants to thank you because during her long illness, you have been with her. You have been more than a church family, Fairview. You have been more than neighbors. And now, Mrs. Childs, with a happy Christmas because you made it so, would just like to say thanks to all of you. Merry Christmas was really exciting. And Mr. Kidnap Adams would like to say to all of you, thank you for your support during 1982 at the Offbeat located at 2028 North Bryant Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Ms. Luper, you were telling me all of the good things that's going on at these good churches. Now, what's going on at Tabernacle? I just can't hardly wait for you to tell me. I know it must be something good because you've just told me about all of the good things that have just happened at some of the churches.
Yeah, the good things are happening in Oklahoma City, and certainly big things are happening at Tabernacle Baptist Church. They are building a beautiful church, and some say it will be one of the most beautiful churches in the Southwest. But I have in my hand now, which is public record, a special appeal to all members of the Tabernacle Baptist Church. Those who are refusing to attend church now, I have a special message from Mr. Ira D. Hall, the chairperson of Saved Tabernacle Baptist Churches Committee. Have you ever in your life heard of a Baptist church being saved? Now, they want to save Tabernacle Baptist Church Committee.
And with all that fine building that they're building out there, Mrs. Luper, and what do they mean by saying Saved Tabernacle Baptist Church?
Well, let me read. Now, I'm reading. This information is coming directly from Mr. Ira D. Hall, and it's geared to all Tabernacle Baptist Church's members, those who are refusing to attend and those who are attending. Now, so many people have asked me, why is it that we talk about Tabernacle Baptist Church? The same reason we talked about Fifth Street Baptist Church, the same reason we talked about Calvary Baptist Church, and the same reason we'll talk about you. Now, the churches, as I see it, don't belong to those of you that have your names up there. The churches should belong to someone else, don't you think?
What do you mean?
I think the churches should belong to Jesus.
Well, that is true. According to the Sunday school lesson, you know, Jesus had to make a decision, and he made his decision for God. So we're going to have to make our decision also about the churches.
Okay, let me read Saved Tabernacle Baptist Church Committee.
Well, what's going on there now?
Okay, now it says there's only one God and only one Jesus Christ. There are hundreds of religions and thousands of denominations.
That's true.
The Holy Bible is filled with those that defied God, and our recorded history and current history is also filled with these anti-God and anti-Jesus Christ man-made interpretations.
I've heard that too before.
I'm reading directly. Remember the Lord's commandment. Thou shalt not have any other God before me, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
That is part of the Ten Commandments.
Now for the tough one.
Okay.
Tabernacle struggles, confusions, and misunderstandings are man-made and not God-made. We truthfully cannot blame God because our Lord would have peace, love, brotherhood, sisterhood, truth, and compassion. Elmer Kemp, Cleo Fields, Mr. A.H. Mouton, Reverend Dave Kimberly, William Smith, David Lee Walker, Sherman Carthen, Eugene Moore Jr., and the votes continue to come in. Remember, those of you that would like to attend the concert tonight, as you call in, come on out here and get your tickets. I have them all ready for you. And the tickets are going like hotcakes. Now, Mrs. Hunter, I know you are curious because this is a report from Tabernacle Baptist Church.
But you know, I guess I have to say like that. Read on, honey, read on.
Below are some evidence of wrongdoings before God according to the Saved Tabernacle Baptist Church Committee. First, the members are refusing to speak to each other.
Oh, Ms. Luper, speaking to each other?
This is what it says. I'm reading it now.
Right.
Calling each other names sarcastically.
Oh, not Christians.
Putting long-standing members off boards.
Surely not Christians.
Removing faithful members off trustee boards.
Not Christians.
Taking over Sunday school classes from regular teachers.
Oh, that couldn't be Christians.
Sending in directors and removing regular directors in front of students.
You mean Christians are doing that?
Here's a big one, removing director of music.
Now, you know you got to have somebody to play. That couldn't be a...
Oh, they can get somebody else. Attempting to get church members removed from state organizations.
Church members removed? You mean Christians are moving church members?
From state organizations.
From state organizations.
Threatening a member physically.
Oh, now, wait, now. You know, only Satan will
Wait a minute now.
like that.
We'll just read. Now, if
I'm
anybody
talking
else got something else, we'll read their side of it. Members of mission status changed to associate members. Announcing from the pulpit. Now, this is a good one.
Okay.
According to Mr. Irie Hall, announcing from the pulpit, and that must have been a preacher because he would be the only one in the pulpit, wouldn't he?
Well, unless it was an assistant pastor up there.
That there are some 2- and 4-legged rats in the church.
Now, Mrs. Luper.
Well, this is what it says. There are some 2- and 4-legged rats in the church, and I'm sure thousands of people go up to Tabernacle to see if they can see those 2-legged rats. Rearranged and dismissed other music leaders without due process. And from the pulpit came this statement. Those who will shake hands with me go out the west door, and those who do not wish to shake hands with me go out the east door. And then some members took off to the east door. They're calling church meetings with 2 items for discussion, and any other items are off schedule and out of order. Now for the big one. Tabernacle has the only sergeant at arms in Oklahoma City working in a church. And the sergeant at arms, according to Mr. Irie Hall, is Mr. Theophilus Howard. Tabernacle's name to be changed, the Baptist word to be dropped when they move into the new building. Leaders must be screened to be members that will not question the pastor. Most Tabernacle leaders are 1- or 2-year members, while the 10- and 50-year members are being replaced. The GAPI annual budget was adopted with about 63 members present of the 900 members.
Now, Ms. Luper, let's just hold it 1 minute.
Okay, I'm going to hold it 1 minute.
I want to mention the Sunday school lesson this morning.
What did it say?
Jesus Christ, when he came off his 40-day feast, he even let Satan question him.
But you
gave
you
Satan
can't do
a
that.
chance
Now,
to ask him questions.
According to this report here, you can't do it at Tabernacle.
And Satan asked him 3 questions in the Sunday school lesson this morning. Satan asked
Well,
Jesus.
somebody asked a question, and according to Mr. Irie Hall, it was stated that he was disturbing and he had to go outside. Now, here's a big one, and I really appreciate this one. Before I get to the big one, let me tell you this portion of our program is brought to you by M&W Welding Company, 1314 North Oklahoma. Now, those of you that are in need of some welding, call M&W Welding Company. Sir Charles Taylor is located at 6225 Southeast 15th, and there's still time to get you ready for that big New Year's weekend. If those pants that someone bought you're too large or too small, go out to Sir Charles. The telephone number is 733-7600. The House of Bingo. 3613 North Everett Street is open 6 days a week from 7 to 11 p.m. The House of Bingo. And when you get ready to play bingo, go to the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Seals Cleaners would like to take this opportunity to say thanks to all of you. He is located at 3617 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City. His telephone number is 427-8362. Mr. and Mrs. Bennett would like to take time out at Exotic Plants and Florists to say thank you for all your business. You bought flowers for weddings, for funerals, and for other occasions from them. They are located at 3667 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 424-7659. And now from the Bennetts. May you have a happy year in 1983 and make someone happy by getting your flowers from the exotic plants. The Old Timers Club is now open, and those of you that are looking for some good, clean entertainment, why don't you go by the Old Timers Club? Maurice's Studio and Styles Unlimited with professional hair designers is open. It's located at 4705 North Lincoln here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And Maurice would like to say thanks to each one of you for being a part of that group of well-dressed women. It's a unique professional hair designs. The telephone number is 524-3462. I repeat, 524-3462. The votes keep coming in for the bachelors. In a few minutes, I will get a report on who's ahead in the radio. But in the meantime, let me get back to Tabernacle. Lady, I'll tell you one thing that's wrong with you teachers. Now, you from OEA and I'm from AFT. We didn't know how to ask for a raise.
No, I guess we did not, Mrs. Luper. According to some papers that I've been reading.
Okay, now here,
did not.
I want you to read this because people say, Clara, but here it is. The pastor of Tabernacle Baptist Church, according to Ira D. Hall, the chairman of the Saved Tabernacle Baptist Church Committee, asked for an $11,000 raise.
What?
An $11,000 raise, and has asked for an independent retirement fund in his own name that the church is paying over $1,400 yearly for. Now that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Now see, you teachers just didn't know how to negotiate.
We really did not, and because my goodness, maybe I'm in the wrong profession.
Well, that pastor is really lucky to ask for an $11,000 raise. We hope next week.
Raise? Wonder what is he getting?
I don't know, but I know here it says, and you better read it because the brother read.
Let me see this paper. Give me this paper right here. Now, get over here in this light where I can see.
Okay.
Pastor asked for $11,000 raise and has asked for an independent retirement fund.
Now that's what you call name. Well, surely he didn't want to get the church's name, according to this statement. Right. Now, after they move into the new building, according to Mr. Ira D. Hall, the meetings will be quarterly instead of monthly. Mr. Ira Hall says about his church, and you know how he loves anything that he's in.
That's right. He wants it to be tough.
He says it's become the church of brainwashing, indoctrination, and embarrassment. We have watched this case with a great deal of interest, and we are wondering what will happen. Where will the suspended, dismissed, and fired Tabernacle members go to church? Their monies, their heritage, their roots, and their structure, according to Mr. Hall, will be flattened, destroyed, but never their memories or their yearnings. Yes, where will they go to church? This is a special appeal to all Tabernacle Baptist churches. Anyway, they will be going to court on Tuesday morning, and your reporter will be there. This portion of our program is brought to you by Harold Ford of the Allstate Insurance Company, and Harold would like to say thanks to all of you. The Prims, the Marilyn Hildred would like to say thanks to those of you that supported her, and she wants to be number one in 1983, and you will make her number one. The Roses Rusty Rand says, Happy New Year to you wherever you are. Thank you for going to Ed Wilburn and getting that shoe shine that's out of sight at the Shoe Shine Parlor. That's open 5 days a week, 2540 and a half Northeastern here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. A Happy New Year's to you from the following funeral homes: the Temple Funeral Home, the McKay Davis Funeral Home, and the Roth Funeral Home. From all of them, they say to you, a Happy New Year's. A Happy New Year's from Reverend Higgins of the Higgins Fish Market and Dining Room, located at 3501 North Kelly Avenue here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. If you really love any kind of fish, go to Higgins Fishing Market. I have with me today a young lady that has suffered discrimination unbelievable. And I have asked Miss Porter, to come here today to tell us what is the problem at AMcare. Miss Ford.
Good afternoon. The main complaint that I will be carrying to City Council next Tuesday is a complaint that most blacks are complaining about. We are not getting ambulance coverage on the northeast side. We've been disrespected on the northeast side.
You aren't getting ambulance coverage on the northeast side.
Let me explain that. There was an ambulance posted at St. Anthony's Hospital before I was fired. That ambulance no longer runs out of St. Anthony. It's been placed in Bethany. Bethany complained that there was no ambulance coverage out there and that AMcare would lose their subscriptions, and also they would not support them with their city taxes. Therefore, our ambulance was pulled from St. Anthony's and sent to Bethany. We also have an ambulance that runs out of Presbyterian Hospital, but it's the cardiac unit that can run all over the city. That ambulance has been stationed sometimes at Western and Exchange, which still takes away the coverage on the northeast side.
All right, now you were fired out there. Why were you fired?
Well, I was fired they said that it was because of insubordination and refusing counseling. But I had had problems with the AMcare employees ever since I had started there.
What kind of problems?
Well, posters were placed about me being black in Baptist Hospital.
Those kind of posters with saying that somebody was running and painted black and that kind of stuff?
Yes, they referred to us as saucer lips, niggers, burrheads.
Okay, that was at AMcare.
Yes,
okay.
It was in the AMcare office, in which they're trying to cover it up, saying that some of the Baptist administration had something to do with it, but it was placed in the AMcare office, in which we only have keys to that office. And as far as of my knowledge, I have never seen any of the AMcare employees, the Baptist administration in there. I had been threatened 1 month before I was fired by one of the white males, saying that they knew I was racist and I didn't belong there and they were going to get rid of me. Several times men had made accusations that I had to play the AMcare game to stay there.
And you didn't play the game and you were fired?
I only did what the job required me to do.
Okay. Now, we have heard a lot about black men. In fact, the Oklahoma Human Rights Commission dismissed Mr. Eckers because a black woman said that he had molested her. But we are having that same kind of molestation with white employees. Isn't that right?
That's true.
Okay, no one is speaking about that. I guess that Human Rights Commission is all afraid. Now, how many blacks have been dismissed from AMcare?
Well, as far as myself, I was dismissed September 15th. Since then, within a month and a half's time, there's been 4 other blacks fired.
Okay. Now, what do you feel that the general public should do? Because I know there are many people out in radio land that really want to do something.
What I'm asking for Tuesday morning at 8:30 in City Council, I'm going back to City Council to tell them to wait for my response. I presented them with a 32-page packet of the filth and slander and the discrimination that blacks had to experience while working at AMcare. They're trying to say that I'm just at City Council asking for their help to help my lawsuit, but I feel that the times and evidence and that I have presented to them will hold up in court. What I'm asking is that we get our ambulance coverage back on the northeast side, that the white employees from AMcare, when they run calls on the northeast side, they will have to respect our blacks, for it's our money, our citizens' money, our taxpayers' money, and our memberships too that help AMcare run. And without those membership from blacks, and without our city tax money, AMcare cannot run. They're cutting us short, and there's going to be a lot of blacks die on the northeast side if we don't get coverage.
Well, I've received a lot of complaints about how long it has taken AMcare to come out and pick up blacks. And once again, we would like to say to the people out in radio land that we have something and we need, Miss Porter, need your support. And it's not Miss Porter's fight, it's all of us. Okay?
The purpose of that shortage and why it takes AMcare so long to come to the northeast side is that they have fired so many paramedics and EMTs in the last year. There's not enough coverage. There's not enough people to cover the trucks. There's supposed to be 12 trucks per shift. There's been a lot of times when our only black paramedic, Reggie Woods, and myself came to work on an extra shift in order to keep a truck available. I've been to work at times when there was only 5 trucks on the street. Now, that's impossible to run that small amount of trucks in a metropolitan area as large as Oklahoma City. So what I'm asking for next Tuesday, I'm asking the support of all the citizens of our black community, our NAACP, our Urban League, our Councilman Gory James, Shirley Darrell, and all the city and state officials, people of importance of our city, to come and go with the rest of us that will try to fight this problem in City Council this coming Tuesday at 8:30 in City Hall.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Miss Parker and Miss Porter, and I would like for you to come back and give us additional information. Yes, it's a bachelor's contest, and ladies and gentlemen, let's see what's going on here according to the audience. According to the audience, Mr. Cleo Fields is ahead in the radio. Now, this is just a radio tabulation. Next is Mr. Elmer Kemp, Mr. A.H. Mouton, Mr. Terry Jameson, Mr. Sherman Carter, Mr. David Lee Walker. Reverend Kimmerlin is running behind, Mr. William Smith, Mr. Eugene Moore. Let's keep those calls coming in and come on out and get your tickets to this big show tonight. Here's Onita with the death announcements.
Temple Funeral Home announces the services of Mr. O.C. Gray of 1000 Northeast 7th will be Tuesday at 1 p.m. at the Paradise Baptist Church. Raw Funeral Home announces the services of Mrs. LaBella Johnson, 820 Northeast 26th, will be Monday at 11 a.m. in the chapel of the Raw Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mr. John H. Wallace of Oklahoma City will be Monday at 11 a.m. at the St. John Baptist Church. Funeral service for Mrs. Louise Slaughter, 1909 Northeast Clover, will be Monday at 2 p.m. at the Page Sanctuary Church. Funeral service for Mr. Paul Lovey of 3601 Lenox will be Monday at 2:30 p.m. in the chapel of the Raw Funeral Home. Funeral services for Mrs. Arthur F. Bryant of 711 Northeast 19th is pending with the Raw Funeral Home. Raw Funeral Home announces the service of Mr. DeWitt Millie of 1141 Belvedere Drive is pending with the Raw Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mr. Cecil Mumford of 1014 Northeast 4th Street is pending at the Raw Funeral Home. McKay and Davis announces the services of Mrs. Emma Armonton of Oklahoma City is pending with the McKay Funeral Home. We would like to say to the families tonight, when sorrow comes, as sorrow must, all that can help us are time and trust. Time is the great healer of grief and sorrow. Trust in the thought of a bright tomorrow. Clara, just before I leave, we do have a thank you note here.
Okay, we have several thank you notes here. We have a thank you note from Mr. Gentry. Is that correct?
Right. The family of Mrs. Bertie V. Honeybus wishes to thank their many friends and loved ones who were so kind and thoughtful during the passing of their loved one, Mrs. Bertie B. Honeybus. And they would like to say, whatever you did to console their hearts, they want to thank you. And this thank you note comes from Mr. and Mrs. John Gentry.
I have another thank you note here. I have a thank you note from Mr. Kenneth Hudson and family. Last week, Kenneth Hudson's mother was buried, and on behalf of the entire family, Mr. and Mrs. Kenneth Hudson and others, they would like to say thanks to their many friends that ministered to their needs. The family of Sammy L. Anderson, and Mr. Anderson died on December the 8th, 1982, wanted to say thanks to all of you for your prayers and your understanding during the death of their loved one. Many of you will remember Mr. Sammy L. Anderson. He worked for the Manhattan Construction Company and was a retired state employee. This is signed by Mrs. Julie Griffin and the Anderson family. Onita, you mentioned the fact that Mr. O.C. Gray had passed on December the 21st, 1982. I wonder if the public knew that Mr. Gray was the father of Melvin Gray that you saw today on the St. Louis Cardinals team. He had to go back to St. Louis to play. He's number 85, the wide receiver. Well, Mr. O.C. Gray has 9 children, and many of you know them. Mr. O.C. Gray Jr. of Fresno, California, Mr. Forrest Edward Gray of Mount View, California, Mr. J.T. Gray of Tehope, California, Audrey L. Gray of Santa Rosa, California, Charles Leroy Gray of Santa Rosa, California, Nora Lee Gray of Averill, California, Wilbert Gray of Santa Rosa, California, Tyree Gray of San Jose, California, and Melvin Gray. Melvin Gray is who plays on the St. Louis Cardinals. Melvin Gray had to go to St. Louis to play, and you saw him today on television. But the funeral of Mr. O.C. Gray will be Tuesday at 1 p.m. at the Paradise Baptist Church. Here's a special. Okay, we are working here with we had a special announcement that we are trying to get on. We have to keep trying until we get it. If not, we will not be able to go back home and face Calvin Luper of the Studio 75, who would like to extend holiday greetings to all of you. And I would like to thank my dear sister Onita Brown for that fabulous dinner on behalf of the Shepherd family and the descendants of the Shepherds on yesterday. Our Christmas was a big one. Shelley says she could not come out today, but she would like to extend to all of you the holiday greetings. Holiday greetings from the Soloway Auto Supply Company, 424-3369 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Did you know that Mr. Fugit is back? Tim Fugit is back, and he's been in Denver taking pictures, and now he's back. You may call him at 842-4127. Happy holiday greetings from Mr. Alonian Threet, your bondsman. They say he's the best in town. Mr. Threet at 424-3132 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The votes continue to come in. And speaking of holiday greetings from Mrs. Gloria Mathis, the owner of Chancellor Cheryl Dana's Daycare Center. And she would like to say thanks for all the support you have given her during the past year. Holiday greetings are in order today, and we are trying to get this tape to work out here. We cannot get it to work, Calvin, but we would like to say a special hello to everyone that's coming in to Oklahoma City, especially all the visitors. Those of you that are visiting that's been associated with the NAACP Youth Council, we are happy to announce that the NAACP Youth Council will be celebrating the 25th anniversary of the beginning of the sit-in movement. That anniversary will be held at the Southgate Inn, and they will be fed at Cleo's Restaurant. What a feat. It is really going to be out of sight. Now, that will be in August of 1983. Namely, the people will be coming in from all over the country, August 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. If you have ever participated in the sit-in movement, please get in contact with us immediately. I would like to thank those of you that are signing up for Miss Black America 1983. You will have until January the 15th to sign up, and that is true, too, with Miss Soul Bazaar, and I would like to thank all of you that are signing up. I thank you for calling, and I want you to continue to come out here and get these tickets so you can take your girl out tonight all free. We have a few tickets left out here because you have not come and gotten all your tickets. Today's show has been a hot one. It has been the story of the troubled NAACP senior branch. I do hope that at the first meeting of the branch, some corrections will be made. I hope the executive committee and the new leadership will stand up for what is right, because an NAACP that cannot do right itself certainly cannot fight civil rights in times like these. I've told you the tragic story of Tabernacle Baptist Church from Mr. Ira D. Hall's standpoint. Those of you that have different information, supply to us. Because what the Tabernacle Baptist Church has to realize is that this community has for years looked to Tabernacle Baptist Church for leadership. And because of that interest, the public interest. The public wants to know, where will the trial be? It will be in Judge Amick's court, according to a report, at the courthouse Tuesday morning at exactly 9 o'clock. Now, those of you that are going, you go down to that information and ask about Tabernacles Baptist Church. I shall be there as your reporter to bring you the story as I see it. And remember, I don't have to take sides with anyone. My job is to report the truth as I see it. And the truth is, as I see it, that it's a shame for a church with a history like Tabernacle Baptist Church to be mixed up in what they are mixed up in today. The public is watching it because so goes Tabernacle, so goes 5th Street, Fairview, and the rest of the churches here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Happy New Year's to Calvin. Calvin, we can't get the tape working out here. We're trying, but we just can't get it to work, and we certainly will need your professional help next week. Tomorrow night is Tuesday night is a big night of the Bachelor's Contest. And I would like to thank all of you. The reports, the calls are coming in here like you've never seen before. And at this period, here we are. Let's see. Cleo Fields is still leading. I can't believe this. Letty, look here. Cleo Fields.
Right.
And behind Cleo Fields is Mr. Elmer Kemp, Mr. Mouton, and Mr. Terry Jameson. Come on in. Let's get those calls moving. Come on out here and get your tickets. This is really interesting. It's unbelievable. You wouldn't believe the number of people that have sent in letters for this contest. It must be the hottest. Now, what's going to happen Tuesday night at this big banquet, the Bachelor's Banquet? We have not sold any tickets. Those of you that would like to go, you may call Cleo's Restaurant for your reservations, because we will not be responsible for anybody's dinner except those handsome bachelors. We will be responsible for their dinners. Now call Cleo at 672-9280, 672-9284. Let me repeat, 672-9280, 672-9284. That's Cleo's Restaurant, and I would like to thank all of you, and certainly Marilyn Hildred would like to say thanks to you. Shelley says she just couldn't make it. She has some very distinguished guests there today. Miss Tanya Simpson and Darcia Woods are over to Shelley's, and they are all playing with Christmas toys. I know Santa Claus must have been good to you. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time for me to say goodbye to you within a minute. And as I say goodbye to you, I would like to let you know how much I love you. You have remembered me this year. You have remembered me with cards, with telegrams, with flowers. You have responded to my every need. I told you that if you have something good to say about me, say it where I can hear it. I told you that if you wanted to give me something, give it to me now while I can enjoy it. You have done it. And to you thousands of young people that sent me cards and candies and jewelry and perfume, you've been so sweet to me. I just want to say thank you. And I would like to especially thank Alan Washington, who has just come over to the house and brought me 2 gifts that I've got to rush home and open. I would like to thank all of you. And if you should forget everything in 1982 that you have learned, I just want you to know that Clara Luper is depending on you. And I want you to know that I believe in the old people because they have experience that the young people don't have. I believe in the young people, and I believe that the young people should try to make the world a better place for both the old and the young. And now, darlings, I've got to say goodbye to you. It will be 1983 when we meet again. And if by chance we do not meet again on this earth, just look around heaven, and believe me, Clara Luper's trying to make it there. Clara Luper saying on behalf of all of us here, let's give it to them. Happy New Year's, and may the best bachelor win.
The views expressed in the program just heard were those of our guest.